Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube segment, I'm going to be giving you my 2022 NFL predictions for Week 2. And in the first game, the first game already took place. Kansas City defeated the LA Chargers. I did have Kansas City Chiefs winning that one, 1-0 so far in Week 2. Anyway, now the next game I'm going to analyze first, or pick first, and analyze, I guess you could say, is the Jets against the Cleveland Browns. And this game, really doesn't require much analysis. I'm going to take the Cleveland Browns at home in this one. My Jets, unfortunately, they're basically in perpetual reclamation mode. Zach Wilson, the quarterback, I don't know, what's going to be happening with him and his progression, if he's going to have a better season this year than the last season. I hope he does. And Jets did not look that impressive last week at home against the Ravens. The ravenous defense showed up. Cleveland is 1-0. They won their first game, barely getting by Carolina. At home against the Jets, I don't think they should have much trouble getting this one. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm going to take the Browns in Week 2 against the Jets in this game. So now the next game, the Washington at the Detroit Lions. I mean, this game, has the makings of a classic coin flip. And maybe it's a good omen that Detroit is actually favored in this one. It's like the first time in like 24 games or so they've been the favorite to win an NFL game. Maybe they get this one done. I was thinking Washington originally. I'm going to reluctantly go with the Detroit Lions in this one to get this win in Week 2. They can, and again, this is this game could go. I could see, either scenarios panning out really easily. Maybe the Reds. I'm sorry, the Washington can get this done, but I'll take the Detroit Lions to get this one at home and start the season 1-1. They played a very good game against the Eagles last week. That could have gone either week. I'll predict they get this one and redeem themselves, be 1-1 after 2 weeks. Now, this is very compelling, intriguing, matchup, coming up, with Tampa Bay at New Orleans. The intriguing matchup be the defensive front against Tom Brady and company, and we're going to see how these receivers are going to play in this game for Tampa Bay. And New Orleans has dominated Tampa Bay in the regular season. In recent time, they've won 4 consecutive games against Tom Brady and Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Again, speaking of reluctantly, I'm going to reluctantly take Tampa Bay to get this one done. I'm sure they're tired of losing to the Saints. I wouldn't be shocked if the Saints get 5 wins in a row against the Buccaneers. Cameron Jordan, in company in the defensive front for the Saints may make life difficult for Tom Brady in this game. They do. Might be a long day for the Bucs, but I'm going to take the Bucs to win this game. I think they will just have enough on offense, just barely, to squeeze by the Saints. I think it'll be a very close game. I think the Bucs will get a late score, which will pull it out for them. But we're going to say what's going on in this particular game, and as far as the receivers with the Buccaneers, are they going to be able to counter the Saints defense? I think they'll just have enough to get this done. So I'll take the Bucs to get this one done on the road against the Saints. Now in the next game, Carolina at New York Giants. Well, this is another game that can go either way. There's a lot of games like this right now, considering we're only in Week 2 of the 2022 NFL season. There's still teams, that are trying to find some kind of identity, and we're trying to figure out, whether they're the real deal or they're a flash in the pan. The Giants, they looked very rejuvenated last week after pulling off that, very exciting victory over the Tennessee Titans, and many people did not give the Giants a chance to win. I was one of them. I thought the Titans would win that one for sure. The Giants, looked like a team that actually had some life in them. They did look impressive last week. They came to life. They were revitalized in that second half, and it was a completely different team in that second half compared to the first half of that game. And in this particular game in Carolina, this game again could go either way. Carolina lost a tough one against Cleveland last week. They got to go on the road now against a Giants team that has some confidence and swagger right now. So I'm going to take the Giants to get this one done. Saquon Barkley, I believe he's the league leading rusher right now with like 164 yards. It's only one game. But if he gets 100 yards in this game, which I'm going to say he will get, the Giants should win this one. And to think that the Giants could actually be 2-0 for after their first two games, I mean, it's been a while since this has happened. I think it took them many years to start off a season 1-0. They had so many seasons, consecutive seasons, that they start off 0-1. Maybe it's a good harbinger for them or things to come that they got that week 1 victory. I'm going to say they will be 2-0 after this week. I'll take the Giants to get this one done in week 2. Now, the next game, the New England Patriots at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Well, now the Patriots, some people think they may be in reclamation mode. It's interesting because they made the playoffs last season, but there were a number of people that seemed to believe that they were going to be on the decline this year. Maybe what it could be is that teams might be figuring out, Mac Jones and what he's doing and formulating, defensive schemes against him. And, maybe that's going to play a role in this. But they are at Pittsburgh. The game should be tight because New England's going to want to redeem themselves after a poor performance last week. I think in this particular game, though, the Pittsburgh Steelers at home, they have some confidence and swagger given that they did defeat the defending AFC champion Bengals last week. And I'm going to say that Pittsburgh should get this one and start off the season 2-0. They will be at home. Mike Tomlin is one of the better coaches in this league. He might even be a little underrated, but I do believe that the Steelers will get this one done at home. So I'm going to take the Steelers to win this game. Now the next game, the Indianapolis Colts at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now this is a good match. Should be actually a good matchup because Jacksonville, last week they played very well actually, but Jacksonville had a pass that was ill-advised. Trevor Lawrence threw an ill-advised pass at the latter part of the game, and I'm sure he wished he could take that one back. It was intercepted by Washington. Washington held on for the victory. Jacksonville is trying to start, make a new, era, with Scott Peterson as their head coach. This game could go either way. Now, Jacksonville did beat the Colts at the end of the season. One of the last games of the season in last NFL season was a shocker. The Colts, are going to be seeking retribution in this particular game. I wouldn't be, Jacksonville, I wouldn't be surprised if they win this one, but I'm going to take the Colts to get this one done. There's a number of people that actually picked the Colts to win the AFC South Division, and I'm going to go with the Colts reluctantly to take this game on the road. So I'll take the Colts to win this one. Now the next game. Okay, we got the Miami Dolphins at the Baltimore Ravens. We'll see if that ravenous defense does come to play in this one. The defense looked very good against the New York Jets last week, but that was against the New York Jets. It's going to be against the Miami Dolphins, a number of people, believe Miami's going to make the playoffs this year. I believe they will as well. I think this is going to be a good test for them. Good test for both of these teams. Even though it's early in the season, both of them being 1-0, can which one is going to emerge victorious and actually start out 2-0, unless there's a tie, of course, which I doubt that's going to happen. Hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that. I'm back. But anyway. But we're going to see what happens with Lamar Jackson, if he's going to be able to run rampant against the Miami Dolphins defense. That should be an interesting and good matchup to see in this particular game. Now, the quarterback of Miami made, kind of, I don't know if we'd say a controversial statement, it's like a few days ago or so, and it's something about, well, I don't know, if I can't see my receivers, what am I going to do? It's just kind of an odd statement to make. We're going to see if that has any ripple effect in this particular game. I expect, him and Tyreek Hill to connect a number of times. I think it's going to be a very tight game, but, I'm going to take Baltimore being at home in this one. And both these teams I could see making the playoffs this year, and we might be seeing actually a playoff preview in this particular matchup. So I'm going to take take the Ravens to get this one done in a close one at home. Now the next game. Well, you're going to have the Atlanta Falcons at the Los Angeles Rams. The Los Angeles Rams, defending Super Bowl champions, did not look good at all last week against Buffalo. That was a home game, and a lot of people thought they should have won that. I actually had the Rams. I picked them to win. And now you have the Falcons coming, to the Rams. The Rams certainly don't want to start 0-2. I would expect the Rams to redeem themselves, after such a poor, really abysmal performance in Week 1. So, and the Falcons, I'm not really too sure, what's going to be going on with them, and how are they going to do in this post, Matt Ryan era. They didn't look bad last week, but they're going to be on the road against it is still the defending Super Bowl champions, even though they didn't play well in Week 1. I'm a little bit dubious about Matt Stafford's finger, and I think maybe that may have affected him more than he was willing to let on in Week 1. But I think things are going to be better for the Rams this particular week. I don't expect them to start 0-2, so I'm going to take the Rams to get this one done in Week 1. Now the next game. Well, you got the Seattle Seahawks at the San Francisco 49ers, and it was interesting because I saw what I thought was a report online that stated that Jimmy Garoppolo was going to be the starter in Week 2, but that's not the case. I misconstrued, what it was saying in the article or the online blog, whatever you want to call it. I think what it was saying actually was that somebody was predicting that that Jimmy Garoppolo will be in the starting lineup this season. Yes, I believe at some point this season. Week 2, though, they are going to be going with Trey Lance, and in this this game, it's another coin flip really, because Seattle upset. I would call it an upset, beating Denver last week. And then you have San Francisco, which really didn't look that good last week. They were playing in that slop in Chicago. They had the lead early, but they just couldn't hold on to it, and Chicago basically manhandled them in the second half of that game. Now in this game, 49ers are going to be at home. Seattle did look a little better, than what people anticipated. I'm really torn in this particular game, but I will take. I'm going to take the 49ers to get this one done at home. I was originally going with the Seahawks, but I'm going to take a little bit of a chance on this one with the 49ers bouncing back this week. I'm not saying Trey Lance is going to have a stupendous game, but I think he's just going to have a game with little mistakes and it'll be enough for them to get the job done. I don't know if Bosa is going to be playing or not. If he is playing, of course, that will be advantageous to the 49ers to help them get this to get the W in this one. Now, the next game, I'm going to have the Bengals, at the Dallas Cowboys, and this is one, that can, I would say could go either way, but I'm going to say the Bengals get this one done on the road. They are the defending AFC champions. Dallas right now, a little banged up with Dak Prescott out. I don't know how they're going to be playing in his absence. And I do really like, the Bengals, did not play that poorly last week. They lost a tight game to the Steelers. That could have gone either way. I expect them to bounce back and get this W on the road. So I'm going to take the Bengals to win this one. So anyway. Well, the next game, I'm going to take the Broncos at home to beat the Houston Texans. Now, Houston, they tied last week, but they're basically in rebuilding and reclamation mode without Deshaun Watson on the team. And the Denver Broncos, last week, they lost that, ending on a controversial decision. With the coach to go for a 64-yard field goal as opposed to putting it in Russell Wilson's hands to convert on like 4th and 5. I think this is something that they're going to learn from. And, I look at it like this. Denver could still make the playoffs this season. I wouldn't be surprised if they are a postseason team. I think the Broncos are going to come back and have at least a respectable season. And, this is one of those things, where winning, doesn't really eradicate bad memories completely, but it will alleviate the pain from them. And I think, the Broncos are going to, put some wins together, at some point, and they will be relevant. And this is a game I would be very shocked if the Broncos would lose. This particular one. They should have beaten Seattle last week, but they're good enough to beat the Houston Texans, and the Broncos are at home, so I'll take the Broncos to get this one done at home. Now, the next game. Well, the Arizona Cardinals are going to be at Las Vegas Raiders. The Cardinals, they looked deplorable last week. They looked like they could hardly do anything. The Chiefs put up around 55 points on them. And, the Cardinals, the secondary and their defense just in general looks like they're going to have to get some issues rectified, or this could be, a long season for them. This was a playoff team last season. They started out last season like exceptionally well. I think they were like 8-1 or something to start the season. And I hope, for their sake, this is not going to be, they're not going to go on some downward spiral, the rest of, this during the season. But, I know it was one game they did not look impressive at all. Arizona may come back and play better in this one, but I'm still going to take, Las Vegas to get this one done at home. It's just, early in the season, it's just very tough to gauge, a lot of these teams. But I'm going to go with the Las Vegas Raiders to get this one done at home. I think Derek Carr will play well enough to help win this game for the team. So anyway, well, now the next game. Okay, you're going to have the Chicago Bears at the Green Bay Packers, and it's kind of like deja vu all over again. The Packers. They got trounced that week 1 game this season, and the same thing happened last season. But they came back and won in week 2 last season. I think the same thing is going to happen this time around. Aaron Rodgers is trying to adapt to different receivers right now. He lost Devontae Adams. I'm not sure about the defense of the Packers at this point. And the Bears, I mean, they have all the motivation in the world because they're tired of losing to Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers has, owned and dominated the Bears over, during his tenure with the Packers. And he reminded them last season, some of you may remember, he said something like, I still own you, to some of the Bears fans. I believe they were heckling him, during the game. But we're going to see what the Green Bay is actually made of. If these receivers are going to bounce back and play better for the Packers, I don't know, how great they're going to play, but I think they're going to be good enough to get the job done against the Bears. I mean, Minnesota, won their game last week. There's a good chance of them winning, at least an even chance, maybe of them winning. I'd say even, or I'll get to that pick in a little bit, but Minnesota has a decent chance of winning their game this week, and the Packers don't want to go back, two games, behind Minnesota this early in the season. So they got all, the motivation in the world. Justin Fields of Chicago, he actually showed some resolve last week. The Bears played very well in that second half against the 49ers. But I think in this particular, matchup, having to go on the road against the Packers, a team that really has owned the Bears in recent time, it's just not a good thing for them. It doesn't bode well. So I'm going to take the Packers to win this one at home. Well, now the next game. Well, next game, the Titans at Buffalo. It makes this an intriguing matchup because the Titans, have played very well against Buffalo in recent time. The Buffalo Bills, though, this season, I would say they're better. I don't think there's much doubt that they are the better team, at least on paper, than the Titans. And the Titans, they may have underachieved last week. And the Bills, basically, did everything but, annihilate the Rams last week. And they really played very good game against, defending Super Bowl champions. And some people believe that may have been a preview to the Super Bowl, the Bills and the Rams. But in this particular game, it's going to be at Buffalo. Buffalo, I'm sure, is tired of losing to the Titans, and they don't want people going around saying, "Well, look, Buffalo, you got your kryptonite there, known as the Tennessee Titans," and I don't expect them to lose this game, and Tennessee is going to be, I believe, 0-2 after this game, and it's hard for some people to see that, and who could have envisioned that. But in this league, a lot of it is dependent on your schedule. During the season, a lot of times when you have a good season, one year, then the next season you're going to have a tougher schedule as a result. And now the Titans are going to have to go to Buffalo in week 2. It's going to be a very tough matchup. Buffalo lost a heartbreaker to Tennessee last season, and that was a game Buffalo really thought they could have won. Some of you may remember Josh Allen had slipped. I think it was like a 4th down play, and then it went over to the Titans, and this was just something that, where Buffalo knew they could have won. That was very conceivable that the Buffalo Bills could win that game, but they just didn't get the job done. I think they will get this done in this game, and I'm going to pick the Bills to win. Now, last but not least, we're going to have the Minnesota Vikings at the Philadelphia Eagles. And, it's early, but maybe we'll see something about these two teams early in the season, because they're both 1-0. Minnesota looked very good against Green Bay last week. And at Minnesota, now you have the Eagles at home. They barely, got by in their game. That game could have gone either way. Philadelphia seems to be like a consensus pick to win the division. And there's a number of people that think Minnesota's going to win their division. And this is going to be a test. These two teams, we're going to find out maybe if one of them might be a little bit overrated or not. If Minnesota wins, and especially if they win in decisive fashion on the road, even though it's 2 games, a lot of people are still going to be like, well, This reaffirms what I believed. I thought the Vikings could win, the division, and they might very well do that now. And even though it's very early in the season, and then the Eagles, they need, to capitalize. I think at this time, on the fact that Dak Prescott is out for the Cowboys, and the Cowboys, may be lucky to weather the storm and stay even during the time Prescott is out. So Philadelphia, has a good chance to actually, they could win this game. And if Dallas happens to lose against Cincinnati, they could be 2 up right away on them. And but I will take the Eagles to get this one done at home. Minnesota, I think they're very good. I know it's only one game and we're very early in the season, but I like what we've seen with the Vikings. I think they're going to make this a very close game. This is another game that could go either way, but I'm just going to take the Eagles on, and in this game really on virtue of them being at home. So anyway, people. That'll conclude this YouTube segment for my picks and analysis for Week 2 of the 2022 NFL season. And until next time, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.